All right, today we're talking about a brand new AI model from NVIDIA that's a total game changer for one of the most annoying problems out there, finding that one specific thing buried in a mountain of complex documents. It's called Nemotron-CoLEmbed v2, and trust me, it's a huge leap forward.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at why search is so much harder now. Then, we'll get into the big trade-off that has defined AI search for years. After that, we'll pop the hood on this new CoLEmbed model. And then, the fun part, we'll see how it absolutely crushed the competition. And finally, we'll talk about what this all means for you.
Okay, let's dive right in. The whole idea of search has gotten way more complicated. We're not just looking through simple text files anymore. The digital world has evolved, and search has been struggling to keep up.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? It's an absolute nightmare. These days, our documents are a jumble of text, tables, charts, and images. Your standard search tool, it sees the words, but it's completely blind to everything else. It just doesn't get the full picture.
And this is exactly the challenge that the entire AI industry is trying to solve. There's a name for it: multimodal retrieval. Basically, it's the quest to build a search system that understands everything: the text, the images, the tables, all at once, so you can find what you're looking for no matter where it's hiding.
Now, to really appreciate what NVIDIA has built, you've got to understand this fundamental dilemma at the heart of AI search. For years, it's all boiled down to a huge trade-off between two completely different ways of doing things.
On one hand, you've got the old way, the single vector approach. It's super fast and doesn't take up much space because it crams a whole document into one single summary. But, and this is a big but, you lose so much of the fine-grained detail. On the other hand, you have the multi-vector approach. This way is incredibly accurate because it breaks the document into tons of tiny pieces, capturing all the nuance. The catch? It's always been way slower and a total storage hog. So for the longest time, the choice has been simple. Do you want it fast or do you want it right?
This analogy just nails it. A one-sentence summary gives you the general idea, sure. But the index lets you find the exact page, the exact phrase, the exact detail you're actually looking for. And when you absolutely need to be precise, the index is everything.
And that brings us to the hero of our story, NVIDIA's Nemotron-CoLEmbed v2. This model basically looks at that old trade-off and says, nope, we're choosing accuracy. It's designed from the ground up to prioritize getting the right answer above all else.
So what's its secret? The secret weapon is a brilliant technique called late interaction. Get this, instead of summarizing everything right away, it keeps your question and the document broken up into all their little individual pieces. It then compares every single piece of your query against every single piece of the document. All that rich detail is preserved until the very last second, and that is the key to its incredible precision.
This whole process is driven by something called MaxSim. Here's how it works. It's pretty clever. First, it chops up your query and the document into tiny pieces called tokens. Then, it meticulously compares every single query token to every single document token. For each little piece of your question, it finds its one true soulmate, the single best matching piece in the document. And finally, it adds up the scores of all those best matches to get a final, super precise relevance score. It's like a detective, carefully examining every clue.
Now, under the hood, there is some serious engineering muscle making this all happen. The model reads sentences forwards and backwards to get the full context. It uses that genius late interaction trick we just talked about. They've also used some advanced techniques like merging different models together to combine their strengths. And on top of all that, it was trained on a massive, high-quality, multilingual dataset, which makes it incredibly smart and versatile.
Okay, so the theory sounds amazing, but how does it actually perform when the rubber meets the road? Well, it's time to check out the results from the VidoRare v3 benchmark. This is basically the Olympics for enterprise-level document search AI.
And the result is number 1. That's right. As of early 2026, the Nemotron-CoLEmbed v2 model is officially the top-ranked model on the planet for this benchmark. We're not talking about a small improvement here. We're talking about a new king being crowned. And this brilliantly illustrates just how big of a deal this is. Take a look at the official leaderboard. You can see the Nemotron-CoLEmbed VL8BV2 sitting right there at the top with a score of 63.42. But what's even crazier is that its smaller siblings, the 4B and 3B parameter models, are also the best in their own weight classes. This isn't just one lucky model. This is an entire family of champions.
So we have a new champion of accuracy. That's awesome. But what does this really mean in the real world? Who is this for? And what can you actually do with this kind of power?
Well, who's this for?
It's for anyone where good enough just isn't good enough. We're talking about researchers who are pushing the absolute limits of AI. We're talking about developers building the next generation of AI assistants that use documents to find their answers. That's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. Really, it's for anyone who's in a situation where finding the exact right piece of information is absolutely non-negotiable.
And the possibilities this opens up are just wow. Imagine search engines so accurate you can describe a scene in a paragraph and it finds the exact image you're thinking of. Or think about a conversational AI that doesn't just skim your reports, but truly understands the data in your charts and tables to give you incredibly intelligent insights.
So here's the bottom line. For years, we've been forced to choose between fast and accurate. With Nemotron-CoLEmbed v2, NVIDIA has basically said that choice is over. For any application where getting it perfectly right is the only thing that matters, a new standard has just been set.
And that kind of leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? As AI gets better and better at creating new stuff, is the ability to perfectly find and verify information becoming even more important than the act of creation itself? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.